everyone. Today I will propose quite the theory. And this theory I call this theory Durs theory. And this theory explains the true statement of how the universe really began. Now, what many people look at is the Big Bang, and well, this is a true point. The Big Bang did create our universe because obviously cosmic black radiation from a research project a couple of decades back was proven to be successful and true. So that is indeed true. So most people just assume that I created the universe and stop right there. But I said earlier, our universe. See, here's the thing. The universe is an infinite playground. There's many ways the universe works that no one can understand fully. No matter how smart you are, you can be at an Einstein level. You will not be able to understand the universe at its full level. So here is the thought behind it. The dark black sky in the universe that no one would think would be a part of the key role in creating the universe. Not our universe, the universe as itself. There's only one, there can't be two. There's just one huge, infinitely undense universe. And obviously, it has to be created in some formation. So like the Big Bang is ours, but we're not looking at the Big Bang, we're looking way before that. So then we look at the theories behind it, right? But I think I've come to a conclusion on what this could be. Let me flip the page. I have a theory that the universe came from nothing but negative infinity. Now, proof it here. We have a number line, right? This is a terrible camera angle. We have a number line, right? The number line, the true number line, starts at negative infinity, ends at positive infinity. Now, people relate this to the universe. I'll draw multiple levels towards this. This is a body diagram. This is a terrible body diagram, but whatever. So right here is the true creation of the universe. Now, when thinking of this, you have to think infinitely dense. You can't think small because small eventually ends. You can't get smaller than that. So you have to think dense. We bring in singularities, right? Singularities are considered to be infinitely dense. Now, was that's a theory or not? I'm actually not sure of. But it could, if it's true, then it could be a part of negative infinity, but not quite. Negative infinity by itself would just be the only thing at the impaction of creation, just negative infinity by itself. But I've also proposed a new scale. Rather than the atomic and quantum scales, which don't look too dense. Sure, the atomic scale looks at atoms, and quantum scale looks at quantum fields and everything in the quantum realm. But what both of those scales fail to do is they fail to look dense enough to the point of negative infinity. So the Singularic scale, which I created as a proposal, Singularic scale begins at negative infinity and ends at the point of creation of string theory. Now, string theory is just a theory, but to prove that the universe came from negative infinity would involve a singularity, which negative infinity would eventually either go into or create at the moment of impaction. So this would hereby prove string theory is correct. Which we could also say out that the Singularic scale could be a part of the creation, I cannot write it, of the universe. Singularic scale at the moment of impaction. Now, if we try to look before negative infinity, we won't get anywhere. Negative infinity is the end of the number line. Nothing goes more left than negative infinity. Here's the proof. If you just do negative 9999999. You could do as many nines as you want adding on. You're just going to get a number that has an infinite amount of nines that is negative. So you cannot go any more left than negative infinity as is. Related to the universe here, this would prove true. And the Singularic scale would play a role in that, in either transformation after negative infinity or the creation through negative infinity. It is a very confusing topic. Now, after the Singularic scale with negative infinity, obviously we would have creation of singularities themselves, which are proposed to be infinitely dense. Or you could go with a string theory, but for this diagram, we're just going to go into creation of singularities. You cannot see this. Like this here. It's the creation of singularities themselves. And then from here, since string theory proposes that, you know, proof of everything, just tiny vibrating strings, this would have to be, it's a second level, guys, it is like 10:30 nights, but still, this would be second level. Third level would be string theory itself, and then from here on fourth level we can just go into the atomic theory and atoms themselves, as we've reached a point where we're not at infinitely dense anymore. So I want to structure this better because I feel like I did not give a good example. So I want to structure this much better so you guys can visualize this. So we're going to, as we already had many layers, this is just a structure, not according to the shape of the universe. We begin from negative infinity in the Singularic scale, which starts at negative infinity and at the point of string theory. From here, we can go to the creation of singularities themselves. And then from here, we could go to string theory. And string theory is not as dense as singularities, from what I know. And then from fourth, they could go into the atomic scale and atoms themselves. And then from here, you just continue on into quantum and everything else that comes after that. But the thing about this is that this can be true. As I said before, the number line, no matter how left you go, you're going to end at negative infinity. Bring it to the universe, you get to a point where the universe, the whole thing, you can't say nothing. Scientifically, the universe cannot come from nothing. So you have to get to a point in the universe itself where there is at least a value or something like a symbol or something, or an invisible wave of I can only say nothing because you're at the very beginning, the very true beginning, not Big Bang, the very true beginning of the universe itself. So you can't really come to the conclusion on that. But from what I can understand, the universe could begin at negative infinity, and the Singularic scale. Remember the Singularic scale? We begin from the negative infinity, and we end at the point of string theory. Right? So this can be true, and I think it is. Many physicists and scientists way before this, they only looked at the Big Bang, or maybe a little level before that. What they didn't look at is much denser. And the reason why I say denser a lot is because once you use the word small, you cannot get smaller than the word small. Small ends. You have to get dense, because dense can lead to infinity, which the universe is currently expanding towards infinity, but it will never reach infinity. That will never happen. As who knows, the universe is straight back into negative infinity, or just continue expanding as it is, but it will never reach infinity. Which is why I propose that it might have begun from negative infinity. Now, I propose, since I'm proposing a discovery or a theory, I might as well name a theory, right? So we name this There's theory, right? And might as well give a full definition for this theory. So, there's theory represents that the true beginning of the universe itself came from negative infinity. The universe itself came or was created from, not by, but from negative infinity. Because the universe itself came from negative infinity. So if you were to ask the question, what created negative infinity? Nothing did, because negative infinity is the end of the left wording number line. And that's the proof. Nothing can create negative infinity. Like I said before, you could have an infinite amount of nines that go towards a negative direction, and nothing can finish that. You can just keep going with an infinite number of nines going to the left. And that is the theory behind the true beginning of the universe. I think I've made a discovery. I'm not going to say, you know what, I'm correct, right? I've only gotten some proof, but I could say I made quite the discovery that the universe, came from negative infinity. Can't be created by, but came from. But what it was created by could also be negative infinity. Who knows? Because negative infinity cannot be created by anything. So the universe might have been created by negative infinity itself, now that I think of it. But this is definitely a very interesting topic. I can definitely do some more, work and research on this topic itself. But yeah, that's my suggestion on how the true beginning of the universe, so looking before the Big Bang, was created. Thank you guys for watching, and maybe if you have any questions in the comments, I'm sure I'll respond to them. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my the 13-minute video on what my thoughts of the true beginning of the universe are. Thank you.